This is Comic Picks by the Glick.
Hey, and I'm your host, Jason Glick.
How are you doing, Jason Glick?
I'm doing good, John. How about yourself?
Oh, not half bad. How in the world is the world of Jason Glick's comic reading tonight?
Well, in comparison to almost, not quite every podcast I've done before, I want to talk about stuff that actually hasn't been collected in trade paperback form, because like the trade paperback is like my format of choice for comics. I mean, I do not like having my content drip fed to me. It's like in 32-page doses every month. I tried that for a while back in the early aughts when it's like back in the days when Grant Morrison was writing X-Men, Peter Milligan gave us X-Statix, and I thought, hey, Marvel's never going to collect this stuff, but so I might as well just start reading it now. And much to my surprise, hey, Marvel, that's exactly when Marvel started their trade paperback program, ramping up in full steam. And so I could have just read this stuff in trade paperback form, but I got to read Morrison's X-Men in monthly installments, and that actually worked out really well, especially when all that bullshit with Zorn started in his next last storyline. And I say bullshit because of what Marvel did with the character afterwards, but that's a whole other story right there. And it's like, But then when Marvel started putting everything in trade paperback form, I realized, hey, I don't need to actually buy this stuff monthly. I'll just wait for the trade. So that's kind of how I operate. I mean, like, if stuff is going to be collected, I can just wait. I can just hold the fuck out as long as possible if I know the trade paperback is coming. Like, I waited like a year between Blade of the Immortal releases, because I knew that Dark Horse was eventually going to release a new collection. This is around the time of Autumn Frost, when She-Ra came back for the first time in the storyline. I thought, man, it's like, when is this going to come out? It's like, do I want to just bite the bullet and get the single issues now? But no, got to stay strong, man. And plus, I don't think that they had all the issues I wanted when I'm looking to buy them all at once on Dark Horse's website. Still, that's another issue too. But there's been lots of stuff that just slipped through the cracks over the years, both from Marvel and DC. In fact, the one series that actually got me to consider this podcast was something that when I was hanging out with when I visited a comic shop in LA with some friends, and I found this one series called The Black Lamb from Timothy Truman. Now, Truman, if you've read my posts and listened to these podcasts, Truman, he illustrated one of my favorite comics of all time, Jonah Hex, Two Gun Mojo, and it was written by Joe R. Lansdale. But he's also probably better known these days from writing the Adventures of Conan for Dark Horse, both in the in the latter half of the initial 50-issue run, and also the entirety of Conan of the Cimmerian, and also the ongoing series of miniseries, King Conan, as well. They've been great fun, and so when I saw that this series, The Black Lamb, which I'd heard about back in the 90s when it originally came out, back under DC's Helix imprint. If you've never heard of Helix, Helix was DC's science fiction imprint, because while Vertigo was basically their mature readers stuff, it kind of dabbled in fantasy like Sandman, or just mature reinventions of existing concepts like Animal Man or the Doom Patrol. So DC's figured, hey, why don't we just do a science fiction only imprint to cover all the stuff that Vertigo doesn't normally go into. Well, long story short, Helix didn't quite work out. Well, but its existence is justified entirely through the fact that it gave us Warren Ellis's Transmetropolitan. And Transmetropolitan, as you know, was so good that as Helix went by the wayside, Transmetropolitan was absorbed by Vertigo, and so Vertigo now had a science fiction story to run with, and now it basically became just like the catch-all for just DC's mature reader stuff in any genre. But hey, talking about the Black Lamb itself, the Black Lamb, basically a futuristic story about a vampire hunter. title character is someone who it's like who works for like the creatures of the night, just freaks of science, vampires. It's like all these creepy crawlies that popularized through fiction and mythology, and he basically it's his job to just take out the people that are hunting them. So it's a nice, clever, high concept that that I was looking forward to reading because it was Truman. And hey, Truman's art is in fine form here, but the stories are just kind of like they feel kind of standard issue in the sense that it's lots of expository dialogue. It's like just telling you like it is. It doesn't have the gloriously overwritten grandeur of Truman's Conan work. It's like he just hadn't gotten the hang of things yet. And so again, it has like interesting stuff like the the character's origin as you find out that it takes place during the Viking era, and how in order to become like a truly fearsome vampire, you actually have to drink the blood of your own kind. And his origin in that regard is suitably tragic. We've also got some other fun bits like the werewolf clan, who are good old southern boys, just like Jonah Hex and all. It's like, and also like Dracula himself also plays a little role in this because hey, it's a vampire story. You have to it's a vampire story in a creator-owned continuity in the 90s, so he had to kind of play a role at some point. Overall, it's like it wasn't bad, but you kind of wonder why hasn't the series been recollected by Dark Horse, considering all the work Truman has done for them over the years? And I don't know, maybe he just wants to hold on to it for whatever reason. Or the guys at Dark Horse have looked at it and said, maybe we're not going to force the issue unless Truman asks us about it anyway. But that's just one thing. In fact, and also, like one of the things that they have that Marvel and DC have trouble collecting is our anthologies. Even though it's like some of this stuff would just be just the right size for it, like the Marvel Knights Double Shot, which basically had the clever idea of just putting two stories featuring the characters under the Marvel Knights imprint, which consisted of just like some of the darker Marvel characters, like Punisher, Daredevil, Nick Fury, Elektra, characters like that. And it's just showing work by established creators and up and coming ones as well. And even though like some of the stories in this 4-issue anthology were collected, it's like there's also some stuff that wasn't. Like the lead story in the first issue is probably the best one of the entire run, which is basically a Garth Ennis Punisher story illustrated by Joe Quesada. It's got a clever setup in the sense that it's like a Punisher visits a gangster who was going for his annual dentist appointment, and it's all told. And it's told from the perspective from the gangster's mouth. So basically, you see the camera of the series as showing out from the back from his teeth, and just showing you the Punisher as he's doing his work in the dental office, and just all the horrible stuff he does to the guy's mouth as the Punisher pumps him for information. It's like over the course of the series. This one was, I believe, collected in one of the Punisher hardcovers that collected Ennis's Marvel Knights Punisher work. And if you've got that, then yeah, you know how good it is. As for the other one, the rest of the series, I mean, that same issue has a Daredevil story from Rob Haynes that basically has the Daredevil tracking down the person who like the Kingpin's dirty laundry, literally. And we find out how just that the Punisher's got that Kingpin has really big underwear because he's a big guy. It's not all that clever. The next issue actually has a story from Grant Morrison that, from what I understand, has never been recollected, and involves Nick. It's kind of like it's a Nick Fury story that's kind of it's like a meta take on what it takes to be as cool as Nick Fury. As someone as we've shown the efforts of this one agent who is trying his best to be as cool as Nick Fury, but but failing in the sense that he's getting caught in these ridiculous situations where like he winds up with his pants down, about to suffer from explosive diarrhea, changing a flat tire in the rain on the highway. It's like, and just showing you, it's just like it's a treatise on like just how no one can ever be as cool as Nick Fury. It's funny, it's fun, but you know, I don't know. It's like the only pride I can take in this is that hey, I've got on this issue a Grant Morrison story that most people will have never read in their life. But still, it's not all that great compared to some of the stuff he's some of his long form work. Also, in this issue is a Man Thing story from Ted McKeever, which has some nice art, but is otherwise meh. The third issue has a Greg Rucka Greg Horn story about Elektra, which is fun in the sense that it has the character just taking out a troubled Hollywood production, and even if Horn's painted art is just like way too photorealistic for my tastes, it's still an interesting story that focuses on the bond between like that has to exist between an assassin like Elektra and the person who hires her in the first place. The other story is from Peter Gross and Ryan Kelly about Cloak and Dagger. It's a very heavy-handed racism story about the monster that lurks in the basement that they think is just about a metaphorical story about racism, but turns out to actually have actual hey, there actually was a monster in there, and now it's loose, and now we're never ever going to hear about this again in the Marvel Universe. So there you go. Last issue has work from Gene Ha about he has him doing an Iron Fist story, and because it's Gene Ha, it looks fantastic. Could have used a bit more Iron Fist style martial arts shenanigans, but oh well. And then the other one, final story is a setup for the Marvel Knights team book by John Figueroa and Alberto Ponticelli, which you're not missing much there. Oh well. Anyway, it's like that was Marvel Knights Double Shot, and then one of the series I was looking forward to rereading was Angel and the Ape from the writing team of Howard Chaykin and David Tishman and artist Philip Bond. Chaykin has written a lot of classic works. It's like over the years. I still need to check out his seminal work, American Flag, but he continues to do lots of work these days with artists Garth Ennis, Brian Bendis, and Matt Fraction, currently on the Satellite Sam series through Image. But it was in his 80s that he had his heyday, though he and Tishman had a good run of doing stuff through Vertigo. And this revival of Angel and the Ape, about a socialite who teams up with an ape in order to solve crimes. It's like I remember liking this back when I bought it over 10 years ago. The publication date was October of 2001. I remember picking it up a couple of years later. It involves them trying to figure out the reasons behind the death of a supermodel. And if you like, it's like reading about, it's like a blonde kind of bimbo socialite and an ape who also draws comics for DC in his spare time, and also how they feature characters like Bambi Dextrous or a policeman who secretly lusts after Angel, who's running Detective Comics, and they're filthy like short person receptionist. Yeah, you might like this. It's like it just reading it again. It's like it just felt just fairly immature and just like kind of sophomoric. I mean, I don't know. It's like I hate to think that I've matured that much in the space of a decade or so, but it just didn't excite me as much as before. It does have some great art from Philip Bond, who has a great cartoonish style that I've loved seeing in action over the years, especially with his work through Grant Morrison, which we'll be talking about more of in a second. And that definitely helps out the series a lot. But at the same time, though, I can kind of understand why DC hasn't really been eager to reprint this. Then again, I do remember liking Chaikin and Tishman's American Century series, the 2 volumes of that were released, but maybe I need to reread that and find out whether or not that's only just a nostalgia talking, whether or not it was actually any good, and whether or not hey, maybe I do need to pick that up at some point. Anyway, speaking of Philip Bond, he's like I said, he's done lots of stuff with Grant Morrison over the years, from 3-issue miniseries Vimonorama to the first arc of the final volume of Invisibles, to the one that everyone remembers him for, Kill Your Boyfriend, which basically involves it's a story of an ordinary girl in it's like in high school in England, who's just like prepared to go through life, just doing whatever, until she meets this troublemaker who inspires her to just go and rebel and break social norms and just go on a crime spree throughout the country. It's great anarchic fun. And I love the way that they just screw with your Morrison just has a lot of your perception of how this is supposed to go. I mean, ideally you'd think that they're just going to to be like a fun journey of self-discovery, but no, there's actually real danger in the sense that hey, there actually is boyfriend killing in this, in the sense that the guy actually gets shot through the chest, and there's also lots of killing, death, and sex, both gay and straight. It's over the course of its run. It's a fun anarchist work. Right to this very last panel when our main character shows you that she hasn't lost any of her bite over the over the course of her adventures. Checking this out, this apparently is available to buy on Kindle through Amazon store. It's probably available on a Comixology shop as well. So, if you can't get a physical copy of this, like I have, yeah, then hey, it's digital is definitely the way to go here. And it's worth noting this is published as part of DC's Vertigo Voices initiative, which I don't know. It's just a I guess it's just a chance for them to give their star writers a chance to just do stories in whatever in the format they want. This the cover date on this is June 1995, and that's also around the time that that the other Vertigo Voices one shot I had. There were 3 in all. The other one by Jamie Delano and Sean Phillips, Hell Eternal, I haven't got yet, which I should, because it's got art from Sean Phillips, and he's awesome. The other one I have, though, is from Peter Milligan and Dean Ormston, called The Eaters. It's about a family that likes to eat humans. Yes, it's about cannibals, and Milligan does this whole tweaking the values of everyday America shtick here, but it's fun in the sense that he's playing up the whole we're the great average American family, but hey, we also eat people as well, and it's fun because he plays it up in a kind of a tongue-in-cheek kind of way for most of the volume, most of the issues run, and it's about 48. Yes, it's a 48-page one shot. It's good, and I like the way that it's Milligan in good form here. He has lots of fun skewering the traditional American family values here. And also just fun surrealist bits, such as the American Apple Pie group just awarding this family the Family of the Year, because apparently everyone says that, hey, these people are great. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing abnormal about them at all until they start eating. Until they eat the guy who gives them the award. Good times, and it is kind of to note that that as much fun as Milligan has with the concept, he also just pulls the rug out from under the reader at the very end when we find out that when we see the family actually kill someone, it's like in order to provide dinner, and it's done all its gory glory. And these characters who have just been like fun living anti-heroes for most of this run kind of stand revealed as really horrible characters, just for the brutality of their work. And yeah, and also because it's Milligan, some of these characters speak in really arch expository tones, in the sense that the daughter goes it's like I have hormones and feelings like all other teenage girls. It's like, okay, no kid speaks like that. That is pure Milligan. And even though this is definitely this is a work from his golden period. It's like you're still going to need like a certain amount of suspension of disbelief in order to fully get into it. Not so much, though, is Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon's Heartland. Now, I admit I didn't do too much research here, so this could have been reprinted at some point. In fact, I'd be surprised if it wasn't, because the fact that Vertigo would have left a work by the creators of Preacher, as it's trumpeted on the cover, go uncollected. Madness! Anyway, Heartland is technically a spin-off of Hellblazer, in the sense that it focuses on Kit Ryan, John's girlfriend from Garth Ennis's arc. But if I didn't tell you this right now, you would not know it at all, because all it is just like it's just a story of Kit, her younger brother and sister, and her even younger sister, and just them, just living out their days in Belfast, circa 1994. As Ennis points out at the end of the volume, in the afterword he writes, this is still back in the day. This is back in the day when it's like when England still had maintained a heavy military presence in there because of the troubles with the IRA, and that things were that at the time that things were coming out, like the issue came out, like things were good but slipping back towards awful. It's like at the same time. So it's a window into Ireland at a specific point in time, but also it's fascinating to read in the sense that it's Ennis just working with completely normal characters, not really in a wartime, not in a strict war setting like it is kind of a war setting, depending on your how you view Britain's occupation of Ireland. But you're focusing on just the average people just living during in this area, and how they adapt to these situations, and as well as also fleshing out Kit's family history as well, and her mother, who did her best to raise her kids in the shadow of the fact of her alcoholic and abusive husband. It's easily what I think one of the best things Garth Ennis has written. And if you only know Ennis from the over the top antics of his work on Preacher, Hitman, Punisher, or The Boys, you read Heartland and you realize that this guy is really capable of just telling an ordinary character-driven story. And so, even though he admits he made a mistake in announcing his immigrant story, City Lights, years before, or the fact that it hasn't come out yet, it's the fact that to see him actually write normal people and in a relatively normal setting, it's I want to see more of that at some point. I hope we get to see it though. Also, on a completely different note though, going back to the opposite end of the spectrum with superheroes, these Marvel also had their Max imprint, which is still best remembered for giving us Garth Ennis's Max incarnation of Punisher. God damn it! And but also they published a lot of other mature readers incarnations of characters as well. Garth Ennis gave us his Max version of Fury. Brian Azzarello gave us a blaxploitation version of Luke Cage, and Greg Rucka gave us this final solo miniseries for Black Widow, Yelena Belova. It's in a 3-issue arc that has not been collected yet. To my surprise, considering Rucka's that everything Rucka has done for the company has been collected at this point. Now, those of you who may only remember Belova as kind of the as a minor villain from Bendis's Avengers run. She was introduced in the in a Marvel Knights Black Widow series from Devin Grayson and J.G. Jones as the new Black Widow that Russia had trained and was looking to and was to take the title of Black Widow away from Natasha Romanoff. In the first two miniseries, that didn't work out too well, but they actually did get better as they went on. Because I mean, the first one was by Devin Grayson, the second was co-written by Grayson and Greg Rucka, and it featured art from the fantastic Scott Hampton, which gave it a look that you would not expect from a Marvel Comics series. And then you had this solo Greg Rucka written series featured art by Igor Corday, which had Belova investigating the death of one of her trainers in Moscow's seedy underbelly, seedy S&M sex club scene. The purpose of the story is basically to have Belova finally assert herself as the true heir to the Black Widow, and it does that just fine. I do think that that record does kind of like overdo the whole sex club type stuff, because hey, it's a mature reader's superhero stories. Let's push that kind of stuff. But he still does a good job of fleshing out Belova's let's see, her anxieties, and reticence in in accepting her role, and finally overcoming her issues and becoming the Black Widow at the very end, with a nice little twist at the end to show you that, hey, if they wanted to go more into this, they could have. So there you go. There's more, but some of the stuff that I had kind of hoped to talk about didn't actually arrive in time. Though I will say that you may hear me talk about this in a Buried Treasures of Manga podcast in the future. Not this coming future, because if this future plays out the way I plan it to, you'll be hearing about buried garbage of manga in a couple months. But we'll see how that goes. John, any thoughts on your end about all this stuff?
Well, I just kind of assumed that volumes, trade paperbacks were, collected volumes but I didn't realize that there were ones that, and it kind of makes sense to me now that they would only have certain issues, and that would be it. I didn't realize that, there would, that there wouldn't be. I thought trade paperbacks were just, simply everything was turned into a trade paperback, but I guess not. Especially with, some of your other artists, maybe even lesser known artists who probably don't have, maybe a large publisher behind them. Maybe they would be the ones that would only have their works in single issues.
Yeah, it's like the rush to put everything in trades it's kind of recent in comics history. Actually, I mean, it only kind of started around the turn of the millennium. Talk about it. I mean, I remember back when one of the things people said about the whole the first rush about hey, comics aren't for kids anymore. Like they can be for everyone. This is back in the '80s when Watchmen was being published, and everyone said, "Well, what else do you have for us?" I said, "Well, we got Watchmen. We got a couple volumes of Swamp Thing." Like they didn't. Nobody had any stuff for people to publish, but now the trade paperback is kind of like the preferred form that everyone wants to read their stuff in, and to the point where like a lot of stuff winds up being tried as being written for the trade, as in the sense that hey, this is going to be, you're going to want to read this so that it reads better in a trade than in a single issue form. And I don't know, I say fuck that line of thinking. If it's good, it'll read well in both forms.
Exactly. I have a coworker who recently left for better opportunities, but he read The Walking Dead. He bought all the volumes, and he continues to buy them. So but he's never picked up the individual issues or anything like that. Doesn't make a trip down to the comic store every week or whatnot.
Yeah, it's like those days are like kind of behind me at this point, except for special cases where I'm out with friends, like I was in LA a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, or when I'm like pillaging online stores to dig up like a manga that has yet to be republished by Dark Horse.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. Okay, well that's cool, and do you know what you're going to be talking about next time?
Wonder Woman by Brian Azzarello and Company, because the final volume of that should be arriving a week from tomorrow, actually.
Oh, cool. Is this a part of the New 52 publications?
It is, and it's basically it's the final volume, and it's probably going to be the last Wonder Woman I read, last solo Wonder Woman I read for a while, because Azzarello is being replaced by David Finch and his wife.
Ah, gotcha. Well, we look forward to it, and we'll catch you next time on Comic Picks by the Glick.
All right, laters.
All right, bye.